The pursuit of excellence is the foundation of entrepreneurship. The seed of excellence is the hallmark of the American people. It is the strength of our communities, play, and our work. Excellence defies the status quo and flies in the face of convention. It demands innovation and promotes leadership. Excellence inspires creativity, takes risks, and creates challenges. Excellence arises from a passion to be the best and then even better. The epitome of freedom is the opportunity to pursue excellence. Excellence is a process. It is this process that has brought these Hall of Fame laureates to their preeminent position of leadership in our business community. The group is joined tonight by 6 new laureates: John C. McCarthy, Ralph Emerson, Dan Ferguson, Joe Bear, Isidore Bear, and Philip Bear. Rockford has grown and progressed because men have been free to seek opportunity. Eager men, inquisitive men, industrious men, men such as Joseph Bear, who sought out the shores of America, made his way west to Rockford, and stayed to help build a business and a city.
The history of the Bear family is probably typical of many immigrant stories in Rockford. They came to this country in 1902. They came from an area that was on the Russian-Polish border. And I say that with a smile because my father always told me he never knew whether he would be in Russia one day or in Poland the next.
Bound for America, the family had high hopes of finding their new home to be the land of opportunity they had so often heard about. But sorrow mingled with joy as they entered the United States at New York City. 2 of their children had become sick with measles and died at Ellis Island. Only their youngest child, Isidore, survived.
My father was born in Poland. My father was Isidore Bear. And they came first to Chicago. They settled on Maxwell Street, where my grandfather was a peddler. And he had a route where he had pots and pans and that type of thing in a horse and wagon, and he peddled through the country. The family joke is always that the horse died in Rockford, and that's how we settled here.
Soon after moving to Rockford, Joseph set up a scrapyard, bottled vinegar and horseradish in second-hand bottles, and manufactured bluing and ammonia for the wholesale trade.
I think the key word for the Bear family in Rockford was survival when they were young. My father quit school in 6th grade to come to work. Phil quit school when he was in high school to come to work. They were the only 2 not to get a college education. There were 10 children in the family, and the rest of the family all were put through college by my grandfather, Philip, and my father. They lived on Madison Street in a very small house.
Isidore helped his father from early boyhood and joined the firm formally in 1918. In 1920, Isidore's young brother, Philip, joined Joseph and Isidore in the family business. 1 year later, the rapidly expanding company moved to its present site at 1100 Seminary Street. The company was incorporated in 1928 with a capital of $30,000. At the time, it had 15 employees. In 1939, Joseph Bear retired. 1 year later, in 1940, he passed away. Isidore became president and Philip vice president.
The burlap market went through the ceiling. And the day that we got the newspaper telling us that, there was a terrific blizzard in Rockford. My father got his horse and wagon, took it out, and bought up every pound of burlap there was to be had in the city of Rockford. When the storm finally lifted and the trains could come into Rockford, the burlap buyers arrived. Of course, they found no burlap. And that little coup was the money that allowed us to buy the first truck that the company had.
Under Isidore's leadership, the family business grew from a modest beginning into a diversified and large industrial company, which included an iron and steel division, metals, rags, and paper division, brokerage division, and an electrical machinery division. With his outgoing personality, Isidore was held in high esteem by employees and associates. Isidore's rise to the presidency of his company was only matched by his intense interest in the community.
My memories of my father are wonderful memories. And I think probably the biggest message I got from my father was hard work, hard work, hard work. Integrity always. My father used to take the paper on his buckboard and deliver it to the downtown to the railroad station, and especially in the wintertime. The problem was always that the horse would bounce, the truck would bounce, the paper would roll down the hill, and my father would tell me the story over and over how he in the winter would roll hand over hand the paper back up, get it up on the buckboard to get it to town to deliver. Now there's a lot of morals to that story. That certainly exemplifies what it takes to start a business.
Isidore gave us an example of how America works and how a generous man may build back into America. Tragically, Rockford lost this great man to cancer in 1958. In 1959, Philip assumed the presidency of the company. Under Philip's leadership, the company's involvement in the machinery and equipment business grew dramatically. By rebuilding old machines otherwise bound for the scrap heap, Bear Machinery and Equipment Corporation was formed.
I think that Phil was the type of person when he came in the morning, and at that time we had a rather large shop of employees, that he would make a point to go out there and speak to the people and to walk through the shop and see what they were doing at this point. I think that he was a concerned individual as it related to, for people to know that the company did care about him at this point.
In 1961, Philip purchased the former Roper Corporation foundry building. The new shop facilities enabled the company to handle and rebuild large machines weighing up to 100 tons. As a result, there was a dramatic expansion in the company's ability to manufacture cold heading machines, as well as to rebuild machine tools for the agricultural implement, automotive, and other industries.
I think that Phil brought the philosophy that you needed to be fair to all your employees. You needed to be fair in your dealings with customers, and to conduct business in such a way that you could be proud of what you're doing. And I think Phil was instrumental in doing those things. He was well respected in the used machinery business, and he seemed to know practically everybody.
From 1964 until the time of his death in 1986, Philip served his company as chairman of the board. Under his leadership, the company was able to survive horrible fires and several economic crises. Like other members of the Bear family, Philip appreciated the opportunity he had to make good in Rockford and showed it in many ways. Like his father, Philip contributed both his time and money to many worthy causes. An avid sculptor, he created a copper sculpture of the Star of David, which was accepted for the Holocaust Museum in Skokie, as well as the National Museum of Holocaust in Washington, D.C. Every day, Rockford residents throw out items for which they no longer have any use. For nearly 100 years, Joseph Bear & Sons has turned those items into money, jobs, and usable material. With money earned from the regeneration of what most people would think of as junk, the Bears accomplished great things for the Rockford community.
They came to this country without a penny, literally without a penny. They built a business which I feel will be here long after I'm gone, and certainly has outlived their contribution. And they gave at the same time to their community. And I think that's a rich legacy for anybody to achieve.
These men are sorely missed, but as long as the institution of Joseph Bear & Son casts its shadow over Rockford soil, our community will be a better place.
Joseph, Philip, and Isidore Bear were not only leaders, but also builders of our community. Joe Bear and Sons is successful today because of the foundation laid by these laureates. The family is part of the very infrastructure of Rock River Valley. Accepting the award on behalf of the Bear family is Mr. Richard Bear. Dick, congratulations.
I certainly want to join the other honorees and say how much I appreciate having the generation that preceded me honored. It really is. It's touching, and it's a very exciting thing. I'm going to keep my comments brief, but I do want to say, because after you do one of these video things, you think of all the things you didn't say. The beginnings of the family were definitely, the business, I'm sorry, was definitely a family affair. And one member of the family who was very active in the business and did not get mentioned in that video is Benny Bear, who was who was a great guy for this community. And another member of the family who didn't join the business but went on to be a doctor is here tonight. And believe me, he was part of the early struggle, and I'd like him to stand up. Sammy? Thank you again for the honor.